All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 460 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here, we talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. It is Friday, everyone. Enjoy. You made it to the weekend once again, and it's time for some more football. Georgia Southern, Atlanta Falcons, all the other games that are going through this this weekend. It's going to be a great time. It's always a good time. Atlanta, the Falcons are going to be going to Cincinnati to play Cincinnati. And the Georgia Southern Eagles is going to Old Dominion to play Old Dominion. So it's going to be a pretty good time. But I want to talk about the next 5 games. I know that's looking ahead. Most of these teams don't look that far ahead. But as us as fans and people who are, interested in other teams that we play, it would look good to see what these teams may entail and what they possibly kind of challenge they give us. So I want to talk about that and give my thoughts and opinions. If this is your first time here, welcome. I can be found on YouTube and Rumble. I'm also on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. And it's just been a really good week. We're going to close out the week by talking about both teams, and it's been a good week because a lot of people has been coming through, listening and watching the show. I really appreciate you guys doing so. I can't do it without you guys. It doesn't matter if it's 1 or if it's 51. All the people who come and watch and listen, you're much, much appreciated. And I do this for y'all. I really do. So I really appreciate it and all the support. All right, let's go ahead and get into the next 5 games. I'm not going to go too deep into the games beyond this week because obviously we don't know what's going to happen. I mean, you got teams like Chicago that we play on November 20th. That's a month from now. This whole team could be changed by then. I mean, to be honest with you, you just never know. Marcus Mariota may not even be the starting quarterback by the time we get to Chicago. But I do want to look at these games just a little, very, very early preview in a hypothetical sense of what these teams may entail. Like I said, same thing with Georgia Southern. We don't know how well, Appalachian State is really going to be when we play them on the 26th, or we don't even know how UL going to be because Louisiana has always been a foe, and we have to go up to Louisiana to play them. So what are we looking at there? Could that be a situation where it may be a trap game for us where we could lose a game there? But we're going to look into all of this. And like I said, it's going to start with the Cincinnati and Old Dominion game. I'm going to talk about the Falcons first because I talked a lot about Georgia Southern in the last few days. And I want to start off with the Falcons. We're going up to Cincinnati. We're playing against Joe Burrow and company, Jamar Chase, a couple other receivers they got. Mixon can run the ball a little bit. Their defense is actually pretty solid. The one thing is that their Achilles heel is their offensive line. And with Grady Jarrett and other guys up front, Troy Anderson, Evan Kente, Lorenzo Carter, we have somewhat of an advantage there where I feel like we can pressure Joe Burrow to make some mistakes. Will that be the case? I don't know. I mean, like I said, Cincinnati is, they're the defending AFC champs. And even though they haven't played up to par like I thought they would throughout the season, we still have to give them that respect. Now, I'm pretty sure Coach Smith and company, they're doing just that, giving them that respect. And I want to see what this team can do when it comes to defending an onslaught that could be Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. AJ Terrell has practiced this week like he's going to be able to go. So you already know who AJ Terrell is going to be on. Somewhat of a matchup of the LSU Clemson game where Clemson pretty much was embarrassed in that game. And with that being said, AJ Terrell is going to, have something to play for, to be honest with you. And if AJ Terrell could do everything that he's been doing so far this season, I think he'll be fine. Yes, we lost Hayward for the next few weeks. I think he's going to be out probably like the next 5 games that we're talking about. We do have other guys like Hall. Darren Hall is going to be stepping up and taking the place of Casey Hayward. So that's going to be a good look because, Darren Hall is sneaky good. He's been playing pretty well throughout the season, and he has like some numbers to prove it. But I'm not going to get too deep in the woods with that because I am going to do a pregame. I know I haven't done a pregame for the Falcons in a while, but I will be doing a pregame on the Falcons-Cincinnati game probably Sunday morning or probably late Saturday night. So you guys be on the lookout for that. The guys that are on YouTube and Rumble, I will be doing a video on that just to give an in-depth pregame of that game, because this game is going to be it's going to be a pivotal and important game for the Falcons. You know, the Falcons are doing pretty good. They're at 3-3 right now, and they're trending up. To be honest, I think they're doing a pretty good job, especially after the win against the 49ers. They look like they can beat almost anybody right now. And then I done went through this whole spiel about all the other teams that they played against so far. They were in close games in all of them. So the Cincinnati game, I'm definitely going to be looking into that for the most part. Give you guys a pregame, so be on the lookout for that. If you're not on my YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe over there. If you don't like YouTube, you rather use Rumble, go ahead and look at that as well. All the links will be down in the description, so you can check all that out to get to those avenues. Carolina, we play those guys twice. Those guys are dumpster fire. I don't see too much going on there where we can, it look like we could probably beat them. We're going to be playing against Carolina on November 10th in Carolina. I put that out there because that's a little bit close to where I live. I would not mind going to that game. I don't know how that's going to play out. I may have to, work my regular job, but I would love to go to that game. That would be phenomenal if I could, but you never know. We'll see how that goes. Nevertheless, the Chicago game, before I go to Los Angeles. We play Los Angeles at home. That's probably like the toughest game that we have out of the next 5. If anything, I could see that could possibly be a loss. So I would love to see us pull that out, but it's a possibility that could be a loss. But nevertheless, I still have faith in this team. So the Chicago game, once again, we playing them at home. I don't have no faith in Justin Fields. Sadly, that Kendall Vildor, the former Georgia Southern Eagle, will be coming home to play against the Falcons. Unfortunately, I think we're going to beat them. And at the end of the day, you look at these next 5 games for the Atlanta Falcons. I'm looking at 4-1, possibly 3-2. Now you're looking at a team, if they do go 4-1, I mean, now you're looking at a team that's 8-4. You know what I'm saying? Or 4-1, they'd be 7-4. Yeah, or 6-4, something like that. I mean, my math is not the best. You only won 3 games, it'll be 4, it'll be 7. Yeah, they'll be 7-4. They win all 5 games and they'll be 8-3. I mean, this is a good stretch for Atlanta to have. So, this is something that you may want to, look at if you're a Falcons fan. Just watch this team carefully and watch how they play, because all of a sudden, if they can run the table and win all 5 games, now you're probably looking at the best team in the NFC record-wise. I mean, that's just how fast things could change. And I don't know what the Eagles are going to do. I don't know what Dallas is going to do. They're undefeated. I mean, the Eagles are undefeated right now, but that's not set in stone. We just don't know what may happen there. But you can walk away with being the top 1 or 2 teams in the NFC just by winning these next, 5 games or 4 out of the 5 games. So it's very crucial when you look at what the Falcons can do throughout the season, watching the other games that they played so far this year and how close they were and how dominant they played against the 49ers. Yeah, I know Bosa and some other guys are out, but there's no excuses. Injuries are a part of the game. We're not going to get any excuses when we lose players. We didn't have any excuse when Kyle Pitts didn't play against the Buccaneers. So, I mean, it is what it is. So, we'll see what happens. Now, before I get out, I'm going to flip over to Georgia Southern. We're playing Old Dominion. We're going up there. We talked about this in the preview episode. That was the last episode, that I feel like Georgia Southern could do some things against Old Dominion. Old Dominion may have a slight edge on us because they're at home, but I'm going to be honest, I don't see that running back. I don't have a problem being wrong, but I don't see that running back running the ball on us like they did against Coastal Carolina. I don't see 259 yards against Georgia Southern. Now, don't get me wrong, our run defense ain't the best. I will admit that. I'll be the first one to say that. But the way we played against James Madison, I think we bring a little bit of that up to Norfolk. I think they play in Norfolk. You take that up there with them, and you play a pretty solid game against Old Dominion. I don't think this getting 250. Not him. I don't think he will. And I don't think they don't want to see us in the shootout either, because I think Georgia Southern can do pretty good slinging the ball around against ODU. I don't know if their secondary is that good to do so. If anything, I may, and I'm not putting this out there just yet, but I may do a pregame show on this one as well. I want to give you my thoughts and opinions on the secondary of ODU. I'm not going to say it's going to happen, but I may do that. I'm definitely going to do the Falcons one. But the ODU game, I don't know. I may. But I feel like things are in our favor for this game. And then when you start looking at the South Alabama game, which right now looking like probably our toughest game of the season. Not the season, but the rest of the season. I think South Alabama only had like one loss or something like that. They possibly could be ranked by the time they come to Paulson. You know how that goes. You don't want to come to Paulson ranked because we're going to give you a fight. Ask James Madison, ask Appalachian State, ask BYU. Yes, I said BYU. Ask those teams. They don't want to come to Paulson ranked. We will give them a fight. Nevertheless, if they come there ranked, that's going to be a dogfight. That may be our hardest match left. Louisiana, I said this earlier, this could be a sneaky good team that may get the best of us in Louisiana. So we have to be careful of that game. I haven't looked too much into Louisiana because after last year when they done so well, and I think they won the Sun Belt last year, you haven't heard much about them at all this year. So I don't know what to look for in that game. That game is on a Thursday night. Definitely going to look into that down the road to see what they're capable of. Now, Marshall and Appalachian State. Now, the Marshall game, I know I said this all year, and there's been some setbacks for me trying to get to a game this year. I've been wanting to go to at least 3 or 4 games. Unfortunately, I was not able to go. This Marshall game, it looks like the game that I'm going to be able to go to. I really want to go to the Appalachian State game, but work schedule conflict. But I plan on going to the Marshall game. I gotta talk to a few people, get everything straight there. But the Marshall game is the game that I want to go to because I haven't been to a game yet. I've been promising that I was going to go. I have not been able to go. If all lines up properly, I may try to go to the Appalachian State game as well. Not making any promises there, but I may do that. And I know that's going to be kind of tough because it's still the holidays. I may have other family parties, but definitely want to go to one of these 2 games. The Marshall game. Marshall and Appalachian State, well, just Marshall, I'll get the app in a second. Marshall don't scare me like I thought they did. When they beat Notre Dame, I thought this was going to be an issue. I thought these guys were going to be able to do something in the Sun Belt. They kind of fell off a little bit. So when they come to Paulson, I don't think they're going to be as tough as I think they are. I think we're going to be able to do something against them. Like I said, I haven't analyzed the team. I will be talking about them down the road because that's literally about a month away. So I'm not going to get too much into that. Appalachian State. I'm going to tell you something about Appalachian State. We always play them tough, no matter what. I didn't like what I seen against them against Georgia State. I haven't liked what Appalachian State did so much far this year. In some cases, they kind of backslide like we did. But the only thing I don't like about Appalachian State, this is an established program. We're in year 1 of a new coaching staff, new personnel on the field. For the most part, most skilled players are new at what they're doing. Whole new philosophy, whole different scheme, whole different offense and defense. And for us to be 4-3 is amazing. These guys are 4-3 and they have everything intact that they had last year for the most part. They still have the same quarterback, still have the same coach, still have the same philosophy, still have the same players, and they've backslide. I don't look at App as prominent as I would in years past. But that doesn't mean that they're not going to be able to play us any tougher or less tougher than they did. I think that we could be able to exploit this secondary. And if we exploit the secondary, we should be able to win this game in Paulson. I don't think App doesn't necessarily scare us, but I will say one thing that Georgia Southern's going to have to do, and it's plain and simple. That running game from Appalachian State, we need to slow that down. You saw what happened in the UAB game. You saw what happened in the Nebraska game. You even saw what happened in the Georgia State game. Those guys was able to run the ball. Now, the running game kind of predicates more on Cameron Peoples, unlike the other games where they had 2 or 3 running backs. That was a problem. That still doesn't mean that we can't rest on our laurels. We have to be able to tackle. I don't look at their receivers as a threat at all, to be honest. I done seen them drop passes, blown, run wrong routes. The quarterback has been frustrated because of those type of situations. But they run the ball very well, and that's something we're going to have to stop now. It's in Paulson. It's later on in the season. We don't know what's going to happen. Their running game might not be as prominent as it is now, and vice versa. Our run defense may not be prominent. We just don't know. But I'm just looking at everything on the surface. That is what we're going to have to deal with. So when you look at the next 5 games of both teams, the Falcons look like they can go 4-1. Right now, I'm going to be honest with you. There's a very good chance that Georgia Southern could win out. Seriously. This is you look at the schedule, there's a really good chance that these guys could win out. I know you got the strongest opponents in Paulson. And if you saw anything with the James Madison game, you know that playing at home for Georgia Southern bodes very well for the Georgia Southern Eagles. And you got South Alabama, Marshall, and App at home. I'm giving that the 3 wins right there. Old Dominion, we played them on Saturday. That could be another win right there. UL, I don't even know what they look like in Louisiana because we haven't heard much from them in the Sun Belt this year, but that could be a win as well. So I'm looking at, we could possibly run the table. Now, if anything, I would give a more realistic outlook on it, even though I still think going 5-0 is realistic. I will give us 1 loss. From who, I don't know. A lot of people may say South Alabama, I get it. Because South Alabama looked like the most formidable foe against us for the rest of the season. Or you look at Appalachian State because that's a rivalry and those games go back and forth a lot. Maybe even Marshall because we're not used to playing them. We haven't played them in a while. ODU, maybe. You know, so you got 4 of these teams, ODU, South Alabama, Marshall. I can make a case for all 5 of these teams can be a loss. But the way Georgia Southern play, if they bring that intensity that they did against James Madison, I don't think none of these teams will beat us. I'm serious. We bring that defensive intensity and bring that offense that we can move the ball. We clean up a little bit on the penalty side. Durden Burgess got a penalty that was kind of that could have been avoided. But if we, I'm still not sure about that. Yeah, I'm sorry. Be quiet, Siri. Siri, that's my phone. But when you have those things sitting there in front of us that, us shooting ourselves in the foot, we alleviate some of that or most of that, we can run the table. Seriously. So then we end up looking at 9-3. It's beyond my expectation. I said we were going to go 8-4. Man, I just wish you didn't lose to Georgia State. I mean, we looked at Georgia State last night. That team had no business beating us. It was just so embarrassing. Nevertheless, let me know what you guys think about Georgia Southern Atlanta Falcons football. 5 games left. Let me know. If you like this commentary, hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Give me a 5-star rating on that Apple podcast rating. Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. You can find me on the podcast avenues. I'm also on YouTube and Rumble. I advise you to subscribe to more than one of these podcasts, these podcast avenues, just in case if one of them go down. There's been instances where some of them do not show up on one, but is on the other. I don't know. That's technology. It's weird. If you want to help support the show, all the links are down in the description. You can find your way down there. Just give it a thought, look into it, or whatever the case may be. I am on Twitter, which is VF Baller. I am planning on opening up a Locals account. I don't know if you don't know anything about Locals, but Locals is a place where we can all, talk. I could do live streams, have like a little show on the side of this show, something like that. I may look into that as well. So I'll give you an update because I'm new to Locals. I don't know much about it, but I'll try that out. Maybe you guys can get some inside baseball of what I do over here behind the scenes. All right, y'all. I'm going to get up out of here. Enjoy your Friday. Enjoy your weekend. I'll be around on the YouTubes and Rumble to give you some feedback on what's going on this weekend. And the next episode will be on Monday. All right, y'all. Guys, take it easy. Y'all be blessed. Peace.